And if you're a casual fan and you're just tuning back into AEW, let me ask you this. I'm going to go into Death Riders now because I think that's an awful group. First off, I don't even know how many groups Mox has even been in since he got into AEW. Like, I know there was the BCC.
Yeah, that and BCC has been pretty much it.
If you're a casual wrestling fan and you see Jon Moxley cutting a promo on the screen, right? How do you know he's your world champion when it's in a fucking briefcase? That title's got to be front and center all the time with any world champion.
It's funny you mentioned that because when I went with my godson to Dynamite, Moxley came out with the suitcase and he's like, wait, who's the champion? Who's the champion? Like, is he champion right now? And I'm like, yeah, it's in the suitcase. He's like, oh.
And why is it in the suitcase?
Yeah, I mean, and again, he's what you're talking about, a casual fan who came back and had no idea. Because he's like, I got him a ticket to go. And he's like, oh, I'll go, but I have no idea what's going on. I'm like, bro, it's cool. It's going to be a good time regardless. And a lot of the questions were questions like that, where it's like, who's the champion? And it's like, why is it in the suitcase? And if we're going to be honest, why is Moxley in a faction that's trying to tear down AEW when he's been like the biggest flag waver for the entire thing? Wouldn't you think he'd be trying to protect AEW instead of, you know, trying to tear it down based off of his actions previously? You know, like he was one of the main people who came out publicly and was completely destroying CM Punk, you know, in terms of like weak mind, weak spirit, weak body, all that type of stuff. Like he was really going in on Punk. And now for him to like completely flip it, you know, it's just interesting to me. The only way it really makes sense to me, and I don't think it's going to happen, but you know, there was those rumors of Shane McMahon coming to AEW. If he was somehow, or just someone who you don't see coming into AEW came in and helped fill that void of why they don't like AEW, it makes sense. But I just...
And you're past the point now, if Shane McMahon even comes, who gives a shit?
I mean, I would disagree with that. I would give.
I don't think it's not going to move the needle. No one's. I mean, yeah, you know, you'll have some YouTube and X views, but
I think it would move the needle because the fact that McMahon's in AEW would be crazy.
And then the muscle is Mira. What's her name? Shinova, whatever.
Mira, or excuse me, Shafir.
Yeah, small cup of coffee in MMA, not intimidating or believable at all. Like I know she's trying to play a kind of role of like a China role, but like she's 5'4".
I think the bigger issue is just that they've been booking her to be essentially a jobber her entire reign in AEW.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden they bring her in and book her how they should have been booking her the entire time as a quiet badass. So now it's like, okay, she's a quiet badass, but before you had her losing to freaking everyone under the sun. So why the hell should I think that she's a badass? And she did have one moment where she did that whole, I don't know if you remember that gimmick she tried for one show where she kept saying, you don't know me over and over again.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I actually thought that if she rolled with that, it might have did something. They gave up on it very quickly, but it's kind of hard for me to believe so-and-so is a badass when you're booking her to be weak the majority of the time. And then all of a sudden now she's a badass. It's like, what makes her a badass now? What did she do that made her a badass?